Okay, so get this. Someone sent us this book claiming it has The Secret to the Fountain of Youth.
Hmm.
I know you're probably
Yeah,
thinking,
we've heard it all before, right?
right, like, come on, another one.
Mm.
But this one, Ancient Secret of the Fountain of Youth,
Mm.
it's got this, I don't know, almost like an Indiana Jones vibe.
Oh.
Yeah, like adventure mixed with these really specific instructions.
Huh. Interesting.
It is, right.
People have always been fascinated by living longer, haven't they?
Totally. And it feels like every culture has their own Fountain of Youth myth.
Exactly.
And this book taps right into that.
Yeah.
It tells this whole story of Colonel Bradford.
Arnold Bradford.
Yeah, he goes on this journey to a hidden Tibetan monastery to learn these ancient rites that are supposed to be the key to, like, reversing aging.
Okay, I'm listening.
At first, he's totally skeptical, but then he sees these incredible transformations.
I bet framing it as a story makes it way more engaging than just some boring manual.
Yeah.
You get drawn in by the Colonel's journey and how he goes from doubt to being fascinated.
Totally. It makes you want to believe it, too.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so let's get into the main idea.
Okay.
The book talks about these 7 vortexes in the body.
Vortexes.
Yeah, kind of like chakras, these spinning energy centers linked to the endocrine glands.
Okay.
And the idea is that how fast these vortexes spin affects how fast we age.
That's a pretty wild concept.
Right.
I mean, mainstream science might not use the word vortexes exactly, but
Yeah.
there is some research going on about subtle energy fields around the body.
Interesting.
Things like Kirlian photography, which is supposed to capture images of the aura.
Right.
It suggests that maybe there's more to our energy systems than we realize.
Okay, so then there are the 5 rites themselves.
Right.
And the first one is surprisingly simple.
Really?
Yeah, you just spin around clockwise until you feel a bit dizzy.
Huh. It's funny how spinning is something we do naturally as kids.
Yeah.
And we associate childhood with being full of life and energy.
Right.
It's almost as if these rites are tapping into something we lose touch with as we get older.
I like that.
Yeah.
Right, number 2, you lie on your back, lift your head and legs, then lower them while breathing deeply.
So very controlled movements.
Exactly. All about rhythmic breathing.
It makes me think of yoga and meditation.
Oh, for sure.
More and more research is showing the benefits of breath work
Absolutely.
for like stress and even physical health.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Right, number 3 is a kneeling back bend, again focusing on the breath.
Okay.
Right, number 4 is where it gets a bit tougher.
Oh, yeah.
You basically do like a reverse push-up, raising your body parallel to the floor.
Sounds challenging.
It can be.
Mm.
There's actually a story in the book about an older man who used a box to modify this. Right?
He couldn't get all the way up.
Yeah, he couldn't quite do it.
That's good, though. It shows you can adapt the practices.
Exactly. It's about finding what works for you.
Not pushing yourself too hard.
Yeah, the book really stresses that.
Mm.
It says to start slow and gradually build up.
That makes sense.
And now for the right, that might raise some eyebrows.
Oh.
Right, number 6.
Okay.
This one involves celibacy
Oh, wow.
and what the book calls the transmutation of sexual energy.
That's definitely the most intense one, huh?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
And the book makes it clear this isn't for everyone.
Absolutely.
Not at all.
It's definitely not for everyone.
I can see why some people would be skeptical.
Right.
But the way it's presented in the book, it's not about suppressing desire.
Right.
It's more about redirecting that energy.
I see.
And this idea of using sexual energy for spiritual purposes,
Yeah.
it actually comes up in a lot of ancient traditions.
Right.
Which
Yeah.
just, you gotta approach it carefully.
For sure, with self-awareness.
Exactly.
The book also talks about diet a bit,
Okay.
recommending things like separating starches from proteins
Interesting.
and chewing your food really well.
It's funny because those are pretty trendy right now.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, we're rediscovering these old ideas.
Mm-hmm.
There's even a funny story about this guy in India who ate, like, enough for 4 llamas.
Yeah.
Total opposite of the simple life they describe at the monastery.
Yeah. It makes you think about how much we overconsume these days
Totally.
and how mindful eating is becoming more popular.
Absolutely.
It's all connected, our food choices, digestion, well-being.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then there's this part where the colonel talks about chanting, in a low pitch
Ew.
to stimulate the vortexes.
Mm.
Sounds kind of strange, I know.
It does sound a little out there, yeah.
But then I started thinking about all the research on sound healing
Right.
and how different frequencies can affect us.
Yeah.
Maybe he was onto something.
It's possible.
So basically, those are the 5 main rites.
Okay.
But the book also really stresses your mental attitude.
Oh, like mindset.
Yeah, visualizing yourself as younger,
Okay.
and really believing in the possibility of transformation.
So it's not just about the physical stuff.
Exactly. It's about cultivating a youthful mindset, too.
I like that.
Me too.
It's that mind-body connection.
Totally.
Our thoughts and beliefs have a huge impact on our physical health.
Yeah, and the book says that connection is key to unlocking the potential of the 5 rights.
Interesting.
It's the combination of the physical practices and mental focus that's supposed to lead to rejuvenation.
Ah,
Okay, so that's the basic framework of the book.
okay.
Now let's get into some of the more intriguing details.
All right.
So the colonel didn't just practice these rights by himself.
No.
He actually led workshops to teach them to others.
Oh, you mean like the Himalaya Club?
Yes, that's it.
That's where he put these ideas into practice with a group of people over 50.
Right.
It's cool to see how he tried to bring these ancient practices into the modern world.
Exactly. And he had some interesting rules for the club.
Oh, yeah.
It was limited to just 15 people.
Wow, so exclusive.
And he insisted on having a diverse group from all walks of life.
Huh. I wonder why.
Right. What was the reason for being so exclusive?
Maybe he thought a smaller group would be more supportive.
Yeah, maybe.
Or that he needed people who were really committed.
That's a good point.
Maybe he was looking for a certain level of understanding about the challenges of aging.
You know, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
And the results were pretty amazing.
Really?
By week 10, most of them were doing all 5 rights 21 times a day.
Wow.
And they reported feeling more energetic, looking younger.
Mm.
They were even joking about not telling people their real age anymore.
It's amazing how powerful group dynamics can be.
Right.
Having that shared experience, that
Yeah.
support system,
Totally.
it can really amplify the effects of any practice.
It's like having a built-in accountability buddy.
And a cheerleading squad.
Exactly.
Right.
And then there's the big reveal about the colonel's age.
Oh, yeah.
Everyone thought he was in his 40s, maybe early 50s at most.
Okay.
But it turned out he was 73.
Wow. Talk about walking the walk.
Right.
It shows the power of believing you're younger
Totally.
and actually embodying that.
Yeah,
It's not just the physical stuff. It's about cultivating that youthful mindset,
absolutely.
a belief that you can renew yourself.
But wait, there's a twist.
Right.
Just when everyone's blown away by how young he looks,
Yeah.
he drops this bombshell.
What is it?
He reveals he's been holding back on something,
Oh.
a 6th right, that's even more powerful than the first 5.
Ah, right. #6.
That's the one.
This is where things get really interesting
Right.
and maybe a little controversial.
Definitely.
This is the one about celibacy and redirecting sexual energy.
And he doesn't sugarcoat it at all.
No.
He's totally upfront about how much commitment it takes
Ah,
and warns that most people aren't willing to make that sacrifice.
I bet.
Out of the 15 people in the group, only 5 decided to keep going.
That's a big drop-off.
Right.
It seems like this path to becoming a superman or superwoman.
Like the book calls it.
Yeah, it's not for the faint of heart.
No.
It makes you realize this path requires a total shift in priorities.
For sure.
It's a whole different set of values.
Totally.
Being willing to let go of what you normally want to chase something bigger,
Yeah.
but it is a choice.
Mm.
The book makes it clear that the first 5 rights can still have big benefits on their own.
Right.
You don't have to do all 6.
Okay, so let's unpack this 6th right a little more.
Okay.
The book describes it as a way to, like, transmute sexual energy.
Transmute.
Yeah, to lift it up and use it to fuel the other vortexes, especially the 7th one in the head.
It's important to remember this isn't about suppressing sexual desire.
Right.
It's about consciously choosing to redirect it.
Right.
And this idea of channeling sexual energy for spiritual growth.
Yeah,
It's something you see in different esoteric traditions throughout history.
you're right.
But it's a powerful practice that requires careful consideration and self-awareness.
For sure.
Definitely.
The book goes into detail about the specific steps, but the key seems to be combining controlled breaths with physical postures.
Right.
And the postures are designed to draw that energy upward.
Interesting.
And the colonel claims this right is like the ultimate key to the fountain of youth.
Really?
That by transmuting sexual energy, you can actually reverse aging.
That's a bold statement,
Right.
one that science hasn't really been able to confirm yet.
Yeah.
But it does make you think about whether we have these untapped reserves of energy inside us that could be used for healing and rejuvenation.
Totally.
Maybe the colonel was onto something. Or
Yeah.
maybe it's just a metaphor for tapping into our potential.
Definitely gives you something to think about.
For sure.
So we've talked about the 6 rights, the colonel's story, and the results he saw.
Yeah.
The book goes beyond just the physical practices.
Oh.
It talks about how we often get stuck in the mannerisms of old age,
What does that mean?
like how our posture, our
Ah.
movements, even our voice can show that we've resigned ourselves to getting older. And that's where the mental aspect comes in again.
Right.
The Colonel encourages us to break free from those patterns,
Okay.
to consciously act like a younger, more vibrant version of ourselves.
Interesting.
He even tells a story about this guy at the monastery
Yeah.
who was over 100 years old,
Wow.
but looked and acted like he was in his 30s.
No way.
It's this idea that age is just a number
Mm-hmm.
and that we have more control over aging than we realize.
That's a powerful message.
It really is.
It challenges us to rethink what aging means
Yeah,
and to explore the possibilities for vitality and well-being, no
exactly.
matter how old we are.
Exactly.
This book is a unique mix of ancient practices and a really compelling story.
I agree.
It makes you wonder if there's more to aging than we currently understand.
It does.
And even if we don't buy into everything it says,
Yeah.
it's worth exploring these ideas with an open mind and seeing what resonates with us. Absolutely. You know, one thing that really stood out to me about the book's approach to rejuvenation is this idea of gradual progress
Oh, yeah.
and adaptability.
Right.
Like, it's not about forcing yourself into some rigid routine.
Right.
It's more about paying attention to your body and adjusting things as you go.
That makes sense. It's not about pushing yourself to the limit or anything.
Yeah.
It's more about finding a practice that you can actually stick with.
Right. Something sustainable.
Yeah, like that story about the older man who used a box to modify one of the rites.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
It shows that you don't have to be super flexible or strong to benefit.
Exactly. You don't have to be perfect.
It's about honoring where you're at physically.
And working with your body, not against it.
I like that.
The book encourages you to start slowly.
Okay.
Pay attention. Gradually increase the intensity as you get stronger.
Makes sense.
That approach seems to fit with the whole philosophy of the book.
How so?
It's not about chasing some impossible ideal. It's more about connecting with yourself
Yeah.
and tapping into your body's own wisdom.
That's a cool way to put it.
So we've talked about the 5 rights,
Hmm.
the Soth right,
Yeah.
and this idea of gradual progress.
And adaptability.
Right.
What about the Colonel's decision to share these practices with other people?
Oh, through the Himalaya Club.
Yeah. What do you think about that?
It's interesting, isn't it?
Hmm.
He could have kept it all to himself,
Right.
but instead he creates this group
Yeah.
to guide others.
It shows he wanted to share this knowledge,
I
right?
think so.
To help other people tap into their own potential.
It seems like he really believed in it. And
Yeah.
the fact that he limited the group to only 15 people.
And wanted them to be from all walks of life.
Right. That shows he was really intentional about the kind of environment he wanted to create.
Like he was curating the experience.
Exactly.
I wonder what he was looking for in those participants.
Maybe people who were truly committed,
Okay.
open-minded, willing to support each other.
Yeah, like a team.
He wasn't just randomly sharing these practices.
Right.
He was carefully creating a space for them to grow.
And it sounds like it worked.
Yeah.
The book talks about how the participants went through these big transformations.
What kind of transformation?
More energy.
Okay.
They looked younger.
Huh.
And they felt more alive.
It's amazing how powerful that group dynamic can be.
I know, right?
That shared experience, that
Mhm.
sense of community.
It can really amplify things.
It's like having a built-in support system.
A cheerleading squad.
Exactly.
And then there's that whole thing with the Colonel's age.
Oh, right. Everyone thought he was much younger.
It really shows you that age isn't everything.
It's not just a number.
It's more about how you feel inside.
And how you take care of yourself.
Exactly.
The Colonel embodied what he was teaching.
He walked the walk.
Yeah, he had that youthful mindset, and it showed.
But then he drops that bombshell about the 6th, right?
Oh, yeah, right, number 6.
More powerful than all the others.
The mysterious one.
This is where the book gets really interesting.
Maybe a little controversial.
That-
It's
that's
about
a-
celibacy.
And transmuting sexual energy.
And he's very clear that it's not for everyone.
He doesn't sugarcoat it.
It requires a lot of commitment.
And discipline.
He says it's for people who feel a deep calling.
To explore this level of transformation.
Right. It's a conscious choice.
Not something you should feel pressured into.
The book makes it clear that the first 5 rights can still have a big impact on their own.
Yeah, you don't have to go all the way to the 6th, right?
Okay, so what exactly is this 6th right all about?
Well, The book describes it as a way to transmute sexual energy.
Transmute.
Yeah, to lift it up and use it to fuel the other vortexes,
Huh, that's interesting.
especially the seventh one in the head.
It sounds like a very advanced practice.
It is.
And potentially dangerous if you're not prepared.
The book is very clear about that.
It's not something to take lightly.
So how do you actually do it?
Well, the book goes into detail about the specific techniques.
Okay.
It's a combination of breathing exercises, visualization, and physical postures.
And the postures are designed to draw that energy upward.
It's almost like an internal alchemy,
Okay.
transforming one type of energy into another.
And the Colonel claims that this is the key to unlocking the full potential of the 5 rights.
Like the final piece of the puzzle.
And he says it can actually reverse the aging process.
Wow, that's a bold claim. I mean, science hasn't really confirmed that yet.
But it does make you think about all the possibilities.
What if there's more to our potential than we realize?
Right.
Maybe the Colonel was onto something.
It's definitely food for thought.
So, we've talked about the 5 rights, the mysterious 6th right, and the book's emphasis on gradual progress, adaptability, and the power of group dynamics. But the book also talks about diet.
Oh,
It offers some interesting suggestions
Like what?
like separating starches and proteins,
Okay.
chewing your food thoroughly.
And observing nature's cycles of activity and rest.
Those are all pretty trendy ideas right now.
Right.
It's like these ancient principles are being rediscovered.
Yeah, it's fascinating.
So, separating starches and proteins,
Mm-hmm.
it's based on the idea that different foods need different digestive enzymes,
Okay.
and combining them can lead to digestive problems.
Interesting.
And chewing your food thoroughly.
Yeah, it seems so simple.
It is.
But a lot of us don't do it.
We rush through our meals.
Exactly.
The book reminds us to slow down, savor the flavors,
Yeah.
be more mindful about eating,
It's like a meditation.
and the analogy of nature's cycles.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one.
It reminds us that we need balance.
Between activity and rest.
Exactly.
You can't be on all the time.
It's not sustainable.
So the book goes beyond just the physical practices.
It talks about lifestyle
Yes.
and mindset,
It's a holistic approach.
recognizing that everything is connected.
Body, mind, and spirit.
Speaking of interconnectedness, what about the book's emphasis on sound and vibration?
Oh, you mean the part about chanting,
Yeah, to stimulate the vortexes.
It sounds a little out there, I know.
It does, but there might be something to it.
I was thinking the same thing.
There's a lot of research on the effects of sound and vibration.
On our physical and mental states.
Totally.
Like chanting,
Sound healing.
music therapy.
These practices have been around for centuries.
And now science is starting to catch up.
It turns out that certain sounds can actually influence our brainwave patterns.
Really?
Yeah, they can reduce stress, promote relaxation, even help with healing.
So maybe the Colonel's suggestion about chanting, ooh, wasn't so crazy after all.
It's possible.
Maybe it was his way of using sound to enhance the effects of the 5 rights.
It's an interesting idea.
And it reminds us that there are many different paths to health and well-being.
Some of them might seem unconventional,
Or even strange at first.
but if we're open-minded,
Yeah.
we might discover some amazing things.
So we've covered a lot of ground. We have
Like 5 right.
the 6th right.
Diet, sound, and vibration. The big question
Yeah.
is there really a fountain of youth in this book?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
What do you think?
I think it depends on how you interpret the book.
Okay.
If you're looking for a quick fix,
Like a magic pill.
yeah, then you'll probably be disappointed.
But if you're open to exploring new ideas,
And challenging your assumptions,
yeah,
then this book has a lot to offer.
it makes you think about aging in a different way.
It does.
What if the real fountain of youth isn't a place or a potion? What if it's a state of being,
That's a really interesting thought.
a way of approaching life,
With vitality
growth?
and a belief in your own potential,
That's something we can all do.
no matter how old we are.
This has been a fascinating deep dive.
It really has.
It's given me a lot to think about.
Me too.
Wow, we've really gone deep into this book, haven't we?
We have. It's been quite a journey. All these rights, the diet stuff, even the sound healing.
Yeah, a lot to unpack.
It sparked a lot of curiosity for me, I have to say.
It's definitely thought-provoking.
Even if you're a bit skeptical.
Oh, for sure. A healthy dose of skepticism is always good.
Right. But it makes you question what you think you know about aging.
Absolutely.
Like, what if there's more to it than we realize?
That's the big question, isn't it?
Even if we don't buy into the whole vortex thing literally,
Yeah.
there's still some good takeaways.
Oh, definitely.
Like the focus on mindful movement, breath work.
Right, and a balanced lifestyle.
Those are all things that have real benefits.
We see that in modern wellness practices all the time.
Exactly.
And that idea of having a youthful mindset.
Believing you can renew yourself.
That's powerful stuff.
It is.
It really resonates with people.
And that whole thing with the Colonel's Himalaya Club.
Yeah, creating that space for transformation.
Bringing together all those different people.
It really shows you the power of community.
And shared experience.
Yeah. Having people who are on the same journey as you.
It can make a big difference.
For motivation and accountability.
And the fact that he wanted diversity in the group.
It suggests he thought these practices could benefit anyone.
No matter who you are or where you come from.
And then there's the Colonel's age. That's a big one.
Right. Like, he was living proof of his own teachings.
It shows that age really is just a number.
You don't have to let society dictate how you age.
You can create your own story.
One that's about vitality and growth.
I like that.
Okay, we can't avoid the elephant in the room anymore.
This sixth right.
Yeah, celibacy and all that.
It's definitely a lot to take in.
Not something most people would be into.
The book makes it clear that it's a personal choice.
Not for everyone.
It's about being honest with yourself.
And making choices that fit your values.
No judgment either way.
But even if you're not into the celibacy thing,
Yeah.
the book still gives you a new way to think about energy.
How to use it more consciously.
Whether it's creative energy, mental energy.
Or just being more aware of what's going on inside you.
Those are all valuable skills.
It's like we're learning to conduct our own energy.
Direct it where we want it to go.
So we've explored all these different aspects of the book.
The rites, the diet, the mindset,
The power of community.
even sound healing. Big question now is there really a fountain of youth here?
What's the verdict?
I think it depends.
On what you're looking for.
If you want a quick fix, magic pill,
You'll probably be disappointed.
but if you're open to new ideas,
And challenging your beliefs.
then this book can be really powerful.
It might not give you eternal youth.
But it could change how you think about aging.
And how you live your life.
Maybe the real fountain of youth isn't a place or a thing.
Maybe it's a way of being.
A choice to embrace life fully.
In every moment.
That's a beautiful thought.
It is.
This has been an amazing deep dive.
It has.
So much to think about.
I know, I'm still processing it all.
Thanks for joining us on this exploration of the Fountain of Youth.
It's been a pleasure.
Who knows, maybe we'll all be spinning and chanting Om in our 90s.
Maybe, you never know.
Until next time, stay curious and keep exploring.